What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video and another stream, and not only another stream, but another interview. Very happy to be joined by three of the creators of a new film I recently got to check out and review here on the channel a few weeks back called Repeat. I actually rewatched it last night, and I can safely say, honestly, that it is probably one of my favorite films of this year, genuinely. Found it to be a really good time, a very unique, different kind of sci-fi film. And we will be avoiding spoilers here since the film very much heavily relies on you knowing what's going on. Definitely don't want to spoil anything that's going on there. But yeah, a big thanks to Rich Miller, the writer and director of the film, for joining me here today, as well as Joshua Ford, one of the main stars of the film, and Thomas George, the composer of the film. So thank you guys for joining me here. How you guys doing?
Really good.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for being a part of it. What was that you said, Thomas?
I said I'm good too. I was just joining in. Hi.
Cool. I really appreciate you guys being a part of this. Like I said, recently just rewatched the film again, and genuinely watching it the second time around with all the knowledge of what happens the first time around, it made it so much better. I showed it to my fiance, who didn't watch it with me the first time, and she was really glued into the screen. It was just like the two of us were hardly even saying anything. We're just locked into the screen. And honestly, I could watch the movie again. And I've talked about it here on the channel before, but I won't interview anybody here on the channel unless I enjoyed their project. So genuinely, a lot of congratulations to you guys. And I guess now that the movie's been out for a little bit now, I'll start with Rich. What can you tell me about how the film's been received and how the whole process of getting the film out there has been for you guys?
That's a really good question to start off with. I think it's been very interesting to see how the film's been received. I mean, we've had, thanks to yourself and some others, we've had some overwhelmingly positive reviews, really great feedback that we've had. So, and not just from family and friends as well, which is nice. And then interesting how people have received the film, as you said, is without giving too many spoilers away. People perceive the film's going to go a certain direction, and I think people who don't mind a bit of surprise like it a bit more than people who wanted it to go in a certain direction. I think that's what most of our feedback's been, is if you're not happy to be turned on your head and have your expectations not realised, then it's those people that probably have been upset by the film most. But it's I think overall we've had some great feedback, and it's that's what you want when you make a film, just to see that people like yourself are so passionate about something we've made, because when you're making it, you see it in tiny little chunks, and all you can see is that element of it, especially Thomas as well. I think you can chip in on that element.
Going bit by bit through the film.
Yeah.
It was like that for me, yeah, because this was my first film, like, composing ever. And Rich had this really good idea of we would just go scene by scene, bit by bit. And that worked well for me, because I was like, oh, I've got to write 90 minutes of music. And but it was cool because, like, Rich was just very open to me with my own ideas. There's a loose feel of, the Clint Mansell score from Moon, because that was kind of a very big influence on me anyway. I was like, okay, cool. So I would just tell Rich that I was in the chair, meaning I'm going to start writing. I'd send him something, and fortunately, 9 times out of 10, Rich would be like, cool, let's just tweak this a little bit, then it's done. And I was like, this is easy, I could do this forever. But of course it wasn't. It was very, very complicated in places, but I couldn't have thought of a better film to work on for my first one ever, because Rich and Josh and everyone was so welcoming and cool about everything.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, because I did see on IMDb that this was your first film that you worked on, and I was incredibly impressed, especially since, on the second rewatch, knowing that I was going to have you on here today, I was really honing in on the music, and I love the music in this film. It's so subtle at times, the consistent themes and motifs that you have played throughout the course of the film, I felt were really awesome. It really lends itself to that sci-fi feel as well. I feel like it really elevates the film. So congratulations to you on that.
Thanks, man.
And
thank you. That's me. See you later. Cheers.
But I guess I have to ask, in terms of going into it with the music portion of it, was it something where, Rich, I guess the two of you guys can chime in on this. Did you have a vision for the music? Were you very kind of free flowing with it, where you kind of just, you had some basic ideas and let Thomas kind of come up with it on his own, and you kind of just went with what he came up with? Or did you have a very specific vision for what you wanted it to sound like?
Yeah, I think we sent Tom in just like a direction of, as you said, we said we want something like Clint Mansell, sort of moon themed, where it was very consistent. That's a very good word that you used there. Very consistent throughout the film, apart from certain impact scenes. But we gave Tom really free rein to then base it off that, because Tom's got a really good knowledge of composers as well, and has got a very good, I won't say mimicry, but he can work around the framework of another composer and see what they do best. We got some excellent tracks that never made it into the film, haven't we? We thought we had one before we made the film, and it's like, that's going to be the theme for the film, and it just didn't fit any of the scenes, unfortunately. But it's like a
Crushed.
track.
Crushed.
Maybe it'll be on the bonus. But yeah, that's pretty much the way that it went. But and then we had some, as you said, most of it's very fitting with the scenes, and then the only really feedback that I said to Tom was on WhatsApp was bigger. I think most of the time was that, but bigger.
More horn.
Well, I think that's great. Yeah, no, I love to hear that it was kind of like a collaborative effort, but also a trusting process. I feel like even for like my own YouTube channel, anytime I've had somebody come on to create an intro or music for my channel, I always kind of have like a general idea of things, and I might give a couple notes, but I really like to just see what people come up with in and of themselves. I'll change the direction of what we're talking about really quickly to the acting, because I was genuinely blown away by the performances in this film. This was the first time I had seen anybody who was in this film, I'll be completely honest. So Josh, this was an introduction to me. Man, the scenes between you and Tom England were just so great. The performances were so believable. The chemistry between the two of you guys were great. And I thought you gave a great performance in the film. And you, like we were just talking before the show, you just literally ran from coming off of a show that you've just opened. Like, I guess just as an actor, what was the process like coming into this movie? What kind of attracted you to the role? I did see that you and Tom worked on another film together called Cosmos, if I'm not mistaken. That's also from Gravitas Ventures. So what kind of brought you to this, and how did you get involved with Rich and this story?
Yeah. Well, firstly, thank you so much for saying lovely things. That's nice. I've just sprinted back from the theatre. I'm trying to catch my breath, so bear with me. So what attracted me to this? I think when I did Cosmos, I worked with Tom, and there was something really special about this, about indie filmmaking, and it kind of sparked a passion in me about making a film with people that just want to tell a good story, and I really enjoyed that. And then I think I filmed like a music video or something, and the guys who made Cosmos and Tom, obviously, because he was part of that, we went out for a drink the next day, and he said to me, "Oh, I'm doing this feature film," and I was like, "Yeah, that's great." Inside, I was like, "I'm really jealous." So I sent Rich an email. I went, "Hi, just on the grapevine, heard you're doing a feature film. I would love to get involved." And he said, "We'd love to have you." And it all kicked off from there, really. I got jealous that Tom got a movie.
Hey, well, it worked out. You were, one of the main faces of the movie, and genuinely, I thought the performances were just great throughout. Like, there's not a single moment in performance in the film that I felt was weak. Even the dialogue as well. That was another thing too. There was a moment right before we started watching the movie last night. It was like a moment where I had to get up to like turn the AC down because it was too noisy. And I paused it and I rewound it. I told my fiance, I was like, this is one of those movies you got to pay attention to what they're talking about so you don't get lost, because I thought the dialogue was really clever. The whole concept was really clever. And I guess I'll flip back to you, Thomas. How did you kind of get involved in the project? Like, how did you come across Rich, and, how did you get pulled into all this?
I was on a bus, and as every story starts, I was on a bus and I was just scrolling through Twitter. And I saw somebody had commented on a post about Repeat, and I looked at it and I thought that was cool. And I looked at the idea and I thought that's something I'd really like to write for. So at that moment, I was like, right, you got to strike while the iron's hot kind of thing, and just sent Rich a tweet saying, "Hey man, like, I really like the look of what you're doing. Do you have a composer?" And thought, there's no way, because you send 100 tweets like that sometimes and never get him back or whatever. And then he got back within like an hour. He was like, "Well, we've had loads of interest and stuff, but we're looking for something in the style of, again, Clint Mansell's Moon. I was like, cool, right. I just had a feeling there and then, like, all right, cool. I know I can do something pretty cool. So went home, wrote something that night, sent it to you by like 8 o'clock the next morning, I think, Rich, or something.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Do you fancy doing the trailer? I was like, yeah, cool, great. I was like, I'm in here. Here we go. And
basically, what you're saying, Tom, is if anyone wants to work with Rich, just send him a message.
yeah, continuously until he just caves,
Basically, that's
until he
kind of how it works.
break down that barrier, go to his house, knock on his window. Yeah.
Wow,
We had had loads of others like asking to do the same thing, and the difference with Tom was it wasn't so much you asked me if you do to do a track, you'd already sort of done one, so I couldn't say no. So
oh, good. All right, not on credibility then.
Yeah, it was more that way around. But it was such a perfect match for the brief that, you know, like I said, I'd give Tom the same sort of brush off that I did to everybody else, but Tom went and wrote a music track, so that was the only difference.
Wow, that's really awesome. I love hearing how you guys all came together, and yeah, hopefully your inboxes aren't blown up after this. But I guess to Rich, you're the writer director. What can you tell me about the creation of this and kind of, you know, how this all came to be for yourself?
Just, I guess, the same as why you do a YouTube channel. You want to put something out there for people to enjoy, and I think there's nothing better than seeing that people enjoy the creation that you've done, and the amount of times you miss the target is many more times than you hit it. So, you know, we've been making shorts for years, and we've just started to hit the target a few more times than we miss, and people were enjoying some of the shorts we were doing, and we were getting into film festivals, etc. But I really wanted to do a feature because the audience is just so much bigger, and you get to tell a bigger story. And I find it incredibly hard to write stories and come up with something original. And I think it was very much an evolution to get to the point where Repeat turned out to be. But yeah, it really just the passion to create something that I would want to see. On very little money because we didn't have much to spend. While, you know, pretty much all of our allocation of budget went towards like just paying little towards our casting crew as much as we could. But it was a passion project for most of us, hoping that it leads to something bigger, I think. And yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was saying to my fiance last night as we were watching it, I'm like, there are just so many elements about this movie that I feel are just going to make everybody who's in this movie bigger after this movie's come out. I feel honored to be able to talk to you guys because I genuinely believe like this is going to be one of those movies that's going to build with word of mouth and more people watching it. There's just too many elements that are great. You know, I know that it is a lower budget film, but it doesn't feel like one. And I think that that's probably one of the best parts about the movie is like there's moments of cinematography and lighting and the performances, and then you have the music. Everything about it feels like a bigger budget theatrical release. And so, you know, a big praise to you guys. I guess we'll start with Josh, then we'll go to Thomas, then we'll go to Rich. Was there a moment in making this movie where you thought to yourself, oh man, like this is not going the way I wanted to? Was there a day on set that you're like, this may not be like the greatest thing I've done or anything like that? Was there any hardships throughout the process that you were internalizing that maybe wasn't as big of an issue, but you know, you were freaking out?
That's a really good question, actually. I think because I was filming over 2 or 3 days, and my first scene was it was outside the theater, and it started raining really heavily, and I had like maybe in this scene I had maybe like 3 or 4 lines, and I was in costume the moment I got up, and I was ready to roll, and I was just sort of sitting about for a couple of hours, which is, you know, the game when it comes to making a film. And I remember us getting outside the theater, and it was
really raining,
and we were just getting it done as quickly as we can. And I remember coming home from that going, oh, I think I might have been really, really bad. I have a feeling I was terrible. So I remember looking at, I mean, I I know, you know, you can or don't notice it in the film. I'm not sure, but I always go, oh, because I just did the lines and rushed home. But that's the one thing I was like, oh, that might be bad.
But it was literally because it was hammering it down, wasn't it? It was
so wet.
it was
Everyone
rain.
was wet.
Yeah. And it was the most challenging scene to film for all of us, and we're all like worried how it's going to turn out. But I think it turned out okay. It's a really good example, that, Josh, of just where especially when you're doing an indie film and you have to do things the first time, because Charlotte had to be there and she wasn't going to be there for another day because she was going to film something else. You were on a very short, tight time scale, and it was an evening shoot, so it just time-wise we just ran out. So that was the choice, wasn't it? And it's integral to the film. It had to be in the film.
But what's quite nice about it is it almost feels like the rain from that theatre contributes to the story in a sense. It's almost like you made it rain.
That would have been the budget of the film, just to get a rain machine, I think.
That's kind of funny. I wouldn't even, like, that scene that you're referring to, like, you would never even think that was even a concern on the back end, you know, as a viewer. So what about you, Thomas? Was there moments where you were writing the score where you were getting notes from Rich and you're thinking, man, I think that what I just sent him kind of sucks?
No, I think I nailed it. Next. No, there was one moment when Rich, I don't know if you remember, but something had happened with my computer, with like my composer machine. It's an old like Mac Pro 2009, just filled to the brim with like hard drives and whatever. And something failed in it, and I was halfway through doing the score, and I was going through like Time Machine backups trying to find this one bit for Rich, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I had this really rubbish version which sounded like crap, and I had to kind of rebuild from that point. But that was really kind of the most stressful part. Like I said before, it was such a pleasure to be able to write alongside with Rich there, just like giving me pointers of where we could go with it or make it bigger or whatever. And I just I was, texting him saying, right, I'm in the chair or whatever, and just loving it. I spent like 3 or 4 hours just writing. And that's why I want to do this forever, is because, when you do meet people that you connect with so well on a professional level, it's just like eating cookies. You just have a really good time the whole time. So it was very, very relatively stress-free, I shall say.
I love that comparison to eating cookies. That's yeah, I feel you, man. But that's awesome, man. I love to hear that the creative process all around seemed to be very collaborative and very exciting for everybody to kind of be there, even if you were only there for, like Josh said, just for a few days to film and stuff like that. You were able to kind of be a part of this fun experience. Rich, you wore the biggest hat on the whole production as, the person who has to piece this all together. I'm sure there were countless times that things seemed like they maybe weren't going great. What can you tell me about some behind the scenes mishaps that turned out to maybe be a better thing in the end?
Yeah, so the first day, the first shot was probably the most scary part, because you may not have heard of her so much in America, but Charlotte's quite a big actor in the UK. She's in a lot of stuff. So the very first scene, obviously, we chose to shoot with Charlotte. Why would we not? It was literally the easiest thing you could shoot. Like, literally her walking to the car and getting in a car. And we took probably 2.5 hours on that, on the first day, just getting her into a car. And just I think one of the main things is, and I spoke to another director afterwards about this, and it doesn't seem like I'm the only one, sorry, my dog is going crazy behind me.
It's all good.
Show the dog. Show the dog.
He's gone now. And a lot of directors have said this, is that you're so rusty on day one, even though you don't think you are, and you can just write off your first morning. So do something really simple, and we didn't do that. So I think it the first scene gave us a energy to what we need to do to not film like we did for the first couple of shots. And then there was plenty of things after that. The edit was just as bad. Again, you speak to most editors and directors, and they'll tell you that the first edit that you get of a film, you just go, what a pile of shit I've got here, and I've just wasted so many people's time. The assembly of a film is I don't know anybody who will say that they're happy with their film when they've looked at the first cut of it. And Tom's not on the call today, but he knows better than anybody that I struggle to see the positives in what we've got, and sometimes it's better to stand back. I can see all like the great acting work that somebody's done, and but I'm always looking and going, I wish we got that shot. I wish we got that. So pretty much from start to end, there's always like little things you just wish you'd known about or done. But then when you get back and you left the film for a month or two, and then you can look at it with fresh eyes, then I think you can appreciate where you've come from. So all the way through, but especially the first day, I think was the scariest parts.
That's awesome, man. I love hearing about that creative process and just, kind of like how something like that can happen where you're not sure how things are going to go. You can see the final cut and think, man, this is not going to be great. And then months later, you have people like myself or other, people reviewing the film and praising it. And obviously your hard work was paid off. So the film is available currently right now via VOD for rental, purchase, all that kind of stuff. Is there any sort of physical media release as well, or maybe ideas for any streaming services releases that are coming out in the future?
I think in the US it's on so many platforms. You guys have got a lot. We've got like about 4 over here.
Yeah.
So I got sent the list by Gravitas. I got sent the list by Gravitas, and it was like I was scrolling and think I'm going to come to the bottom of this in a minute. And we're on all these platforms, but I believe on Amazon.com you can order a physical copy as well from Gravitas if you select the drop down, which I didn't know about until yesterday. So we've got Laura, who was involved in the film. Her brother lives in America, so he's buying a copy over there because you can't get it shipped over here. He's buying some to send over here so we can have a physical copy. So we don't have any physical copies over here, but there is in America.
Rich, I really enjoyed the way you said Amazon.com. Have you heard of the internet? Yes, it's lovely.
Cyberspace. But here, we're on a few streaming platforms, and who knows where it'll go in the future. We're just looking at other territories to sell it into. We've had people from Italy contact us, and we've had people from China contact us. So we're looking at and rolling it across the world now. Josh has already been. Cosmos was distributed throughout the world, and I've seen clips of him speaking in Russian, which is quite interesting.
Oh, it's the funniest thing. It's the funniest thing. You look it up, and there's sort of like the Russian dub of Cosmos, or the Chinese dub of Cosmos, and these people who dub it, they're fantastic. They're really trying to emulate you, but obviously in their language. And if you ever want to know what you sound like in Russian or Chinese or anything, do a film and let them go over it, and then you suddenly know what you might sound like if you're a Russian. It's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I watch a lot of movies with my grandmother in Spanish, and so I always have fun like watching big, movies with these, incredible actors that are in Spanish. Most of the time it's terrible, but sometimes it's almost always hilarious, especially if you watch something like Star Wars and you have like Darth Vader and Yoda speaking in Spanish. It's pretty nice.
Beautiful. I love it.
So a question to all of you guys. I know we're going to wrap up in a little bit. I don't want to keep too much more of you guys' time. I know you guys are busy people. What can you guys tell me a little bit about what got you into what you're doing? You're going to have a lot of people asking you about the film and talking about the specifics, but I definitely want to know about you guys a little bit. So I'll start with Joshua. How did you get into acting, and what brought you really into wanting to be a part of the industry?
Wow. I love acting more than I could possibly love anything else. I find it a really expressive, creative, fulfilling thing to do, and I've always loved it. And every day I wake up, I sort of love it a little bit more. When I was young, when I was a little kid, I had a little stutter and a stammer, and I couldn't speak very well. I had a lot of speech therapy and drama therapy, and I found it was easier to speak through other people's words than my own. And then I kind of enjoyed doing that, and people clapping and cheering at me or laughing at me or whatever, and realizing, wait, I like being center of attention, and I also like speaking. So I managed to sort of go to drama school and do that. But I will never not love this, and I will never not love the whole process of it. It's not just the acting I love. I feel like I can contribute to the acting because I feel I'm not terrible at it. But when I do act, I'm being surrounded by other people who are just equally amazing at what they do. And you're just surrounded by people who just want to tell stories and be creative, whether that's directing, making music, producing. Once you do this, you just can't ever stop. For me, I love it. I love it. I got into it because I love it, and I'll never leave it because I love it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I love hearing about that passion, and then just to know that it was kind of like an escape for you from, like, you know, an element of your childhood that eventually kind of just led into this massive passion. Thomas, I guess for yourself, have you been a musician for most of your life? You know, was it kind of natural transitioning into composing, or was there a certain point where you were like, oh, like this is what I really want to do, like now in my life?
I think it all kind of stemmed when I was about 4. I was bought a Yamaha keyboard, you know, one of the ones that has a demo button on it. And you hit that demo button, it plays this ludicrous song for like 2 minutes. And I used to just jam over the top of it. I didn't know what I was doing. But then I played in bands and stuff, and then I did a load of like solo touring for about 4 years. I went out to Japan. I went and played all over Europe, and I went to the States for a show. And that, I mean, that alone as a basis was, you know, something I knew I wanted to do music. I've known since I was a kid, kind of like Josh, really. Like, I've just known that that's what I want to do. So I'd say a defining point for me was when I first watched Danny Boyle's Sunshine, because I can remember watching it when I was at university. So I was probably under the influence of something back then, but not anymore. But anyway, and I was watching it, and I was just like, the soundtrack alone by John Murphy just absolutely, I think it's John Murphy. No, I'm certain it is. And it just blew me away. And I can remember thinking at that point, I want to write music for film or media or games. And now that's my job. And I'm so lucky and so fortunate to be able to do it. But yeah, again, like Josh, like, it's something that I'll never not do, because it calms me down, it excites me, it does everything I want it to. And I get to create, like, from a blank canvas every day. And I feel very fortunate to be able to do that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm going to come back and ask Joshua a similar question, and then I'm going to bring it to Rich as well. But for Thomas, I wanted to know, do you have a favorite composer?
John Williams.
Oh, I love my movie music. Yeah, it's Tom George. No, well, he's up there, but I love a bit of Steve Jablonsky. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Transformers movies, but the first Transformers movie, there's a tune, The All Spark, which is beautiful.
There's a great score for those Transformers movies, and John Williams is fantastic. I don't know if you guys can see, but I have Star Wars posters right up there. So John Williams and Star Wars for me are next level. So yeah,
I think you'd have to go with John Powell. For his score to How to Train a Dragon is just something really special. It's you ask me the same question tomorrow and it'll be a different answer. I love it.
I know what you mean. But for Josh, I was curious as well for you. Do you have a favorite actor? Do you have a favorite actor that is like the one that you're like, that's kind of like the inspiration right there?
Well, Mark Rylance is always going to be, you know, king, and Amy Adams is queen. Those two are phenomenal at what they do all the time. And Tom England.
I'm sure he'll get a kick out of that if he ever watches this.
What
was that you said?
I mean it. He's a great actor.
No, I mean, I think he's phenomenal. To be completely honest, like, I was blown away to see that he had only been in one other thing, at least on screen, and one other film on IMDb. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but yeah, it was Cosmos and then Repeat, if I'm not mistaken. I'm assuming he does stage work and all that kind of stuff, because you can't just have that kind of skill without that. But he was really, really great in the film. I'll throw it over to you now, Rich. Do you have a favorite director that kind of, just inspires you? And, I guess for you, you're the writer and the director. Are you more in love with the writing process or the directing process? And, again, just kind of similar to what I asked Josh and Thomas for their craft. What got you into that world?
Yeah, I think certainly the directing part and the editing part rather than the writing, because it just takes so long to write, and I couldn't just be a writer. But I think the directing part, because you just spend so much time with people, and you're interacting with different areas. So whether that be Thomas or the actors on the day, or the other departments. There's just something about like being able to work as a team to create something that, you know, you always think of a director just, you know, directing actors, but the rest of the actual collaboration with everybody else is what I really get a kick out of from that side. And then the editing side, being able to put together a jigsaw puzzle that hasn't got a map. You know, you can make a film completely different by just moving a scene around. So both of those parts I really love. Probably less so the writing, but it's there's nothing better than hearing an actor deliver a line that you've written and it come out surprisingly better than you ever imagined. And certainly our cast have done an excellent job in elevating somebody who doesn't do any writings part. And from a director point of view, it's just the main ones. Again, Spielberg, just from a visionary point of view, I think people forget when you go back and watch some of his early stuff. You watch some of the opening to some of the Indiana Jones films, and they're just incredible. You watch them as a kid, and then you watch them in a different view when you watch them older. And just some of the things he did with like movement of the camera and blocking is just, even today, it's like directors don't do that, don't do what he does. So Spielberg from that way, I think from a story construction, and this is no surprise if you've seen Repeat, Christopher Nolan, I think just creates rabbit holes that you fall down and have to find the bottom of, and you don't know which direction it's going. And then I think the best director at the moment is Denis Villeneuve. Just his track record is just so solid, film after film.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
He's doing quite well.
He doesn't just get Dune because he's half decent. He literally deserves it, doesn't he? He's you know, from Prisoners is one of my favourite films. It's just so well made, and he doesn't do things just to make them look flashy. He does things because it fits a purpose. So if you watch Dune, nothing is flashy in Dune, even though you're seeing massive things. And the same with Arrival. You know, you could be going to show something on screen to impress people, or you're doing it just because you're creating a world. And I think Villeneuve creates a world which you are in.
Yeah, I back that totally, 100%.
Yeah, no, he's a phenomenal director, and and so are you. And to lean into like what you were just saying about writing, you were just saying that it's not the most comfortable element for you. Yeah, you know, Christopher Nolan is a good example to something to compare Repeat to, because I honestly thought it was one of the better written films. Watching it the second time, again, because of the nature of the story, there were so many things you just can't catch on to the first time you're watching it because you don't know where things are going. And so being able to revisit it and see these small moments that you put in there to, you know, really highlight it on the second viewing, I thought made it so much stronger and gives it that rewatchability. There's already other people that I want to show this movie to, and I think that really comes down to really everything that makes this movie flow. Like, you can just tell there was a really great collaborative effort from all of you guys. And so, yeah, I just want to really, again, congratulate you guys on all of that. You know, I hope that the film continues to grow and that it brings a lot of great success for all of you guys. And you guys have any like final words, anything about the film that you want people to know about, anything you guys want to say to the viewers who will watch this?
I guess I want to say, well, firstly, thanks, Anthony, for this. This is great. But I think you kind of hit the nail on the head that Repeat was Repeat was made with a team of people in every capacity, of people that just wanted to make a film and create with each other and enjoy each other's company while telling a story that was passionate. And I think my main thing that I really take away from Repeat is that everyone was having such great fun making it. And I think that translates on screen. And when I watch it now, I really enjoy watching everyone enjoying themselves on the screen, whether it just be the acting or the music or the way that the camera moves here and there. That's what I will take away from Repeat. Is everyone was invested in it and really enjoyed it. And I hope everyone else enjoys it as much as we enjoyed making it, I guess.
That's great. Anybody else wants to say something to the audience?
Yeah, like I'll absolutely second what Josh was saying, and furthermore, like everybody who's checked it out so far, that's amazing. I hope you all enjoy it. Watch it again, and then maybe we'll make another one. Rich, right? Yeah, Rich.
Yeah, another 2 years to write, but yeah, it just backs up that what these guys say is. I think it's a really nice byproduct that we've been able to make something really that some people have passionately enjoyed, some people passionately don't enjoy, out of such a fun experience, and we've made friends that just from having such a like mind in the way that we approach things. It was a very, we filmed this within COVID conditions in a year that was absolutely terrible, and for all of the pieces to fall into place the way that it did, with such fantastic people, to every single person that we've dealt with, is pretty incredible, really. And that goes to the producers as well, who have been great in helping us put the film out there. But from everybody involved, I think, yeah, it's just been a really fun time, and great to then do stuff like this afterwards and speak to people like yourself that helped promote our film and and hopefully genuinely enjoyed it. So it's just been I always joke about like the cliche of a dream come true, but I think if you're a kid and you want to make a film, what's just happened to us and how this has been received is, for me, it does fall into that category, and it's exciting what happens next.
Yeah, I'd say so, man. Just if I was a part of this project and this is the final product, I'd be very proud of it. So good on you guys. I did leave the link for the social media for the movie down below in the description box, as well as the links that I could find for the social media for the gentleman here joining me today. Really quickly, the last thing I want to ask you guys, just kind of more of a plug for yourself. Is there anything that people can look out for what you're working on right now beyond Repeat, to kind of keep an eye out for? We'll start with Joshua. I know that you said you literally ran to this interview from the stage for playing in a show. So what can you tell us a little bit about that and what you're working on? And we'll go from Thomas to Rich, and then we'll wrap things up.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm not sure how many of your fans in America will understand what pantomime is, but it's a very British tradition over Christmas that usually take, it's like a fairy tale, Christmas themed and everything. And over Christmas, not most, but a lot of actors do that. And I opened Aladdin today. We've got 76 shows. We run until halfway through January. So if any of your American fans or British fans, if they find themselves up in Rotherham, which is actually Sheffield in England, and want to come and see Aladdin at the Rotherham Civic Theatre, I play the big baddie in that. And I play guitar on stage, and I sing Queen, and it's all pretty cool.
Do you have a Britney mic when you do it, dude?
I do. I have a Britney mic. Yeah. I have a Britney mic. I'm trying to color black blend in with a beard. I feel like a rock star. Like, look at my nails. I painted them black. I'm a rock star.
Moody. Love it.
You're a rock star. So I'm doing that, and then I'm filming a couple of short things in January and February when I get back. But other than that, come to Rotherham Civic Theatre. Come see me in Aladdin.
That's awesome. Yeah, please do. I will say, the second most viewed place in the world for my channel is the UK. So I don't think I have an abundance of UK viewers, but I think I have some who are probably over there. Maybe go check it out.
Maybe they're all in Rotherham.
What was that you said?
They might all be in Rotherham. You don't know.
Exactly. They might all be Rotherham.
Gotcha. What about you, Thomas? What can you tell us about what you're working on right now in terms of music, composing for other things, or whatever the case may be?
So I am working on a film called Own Worst Enemy by Philip Pugh, and I've been working on that for a couple of months. So that's my second feature, which is cool. So that's going to come out next year at some point. I'm also doing some shorts, and I'm working on a little project with my friend Sam. And my day job is writing for video games, as well as like making sound effects and stuff. So I'm nice and busy, which is good. I'm very much looking forward to summer next year because I'm already bored of the dark. But yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Awesome. And what about you, Rich? Anything that you're working on in particular right now to kind of plug?
No, just trying to I think it's going to be plug and repeat for the next whatever amount of time, and in the meantime just formulating an idea for the next feature. So I've got some basic ideas of sort of the route that we want to go to create something, and it's starting to form an idea now. So we'll see what way that goes when I've got enough meat on the bone to start putting it to page. But yeah, it'd be exciting to start on a new project, but it's we haven't said goodbye quite to this one yet.
No, yeah, of course. I figured with your answer was going to be promoting the film right now. It's still really new. You got a lot under your belt to kind of hang out, kind of deal with, and have a lot to kind of do with the film. So yes, a big thanks to you guys again for joining me here to just talk about the movie for a little bit and just kind of getting to know you guys a little bit as artists. Genuinely appreciate it. Before we go, we did get a few comments that I do just want to share with you guys. We had Did You Z that pop in here saying, tell the guy said hi. I know he interviewed Rich and Josh just a couple weeks ago. Ben Thatcher Music said that it was a great score for the film. He threw that in there when we were talking about
Legend.
the score. Rashad G saying, haven't seen the film yet, but here for this live, definitely interested in watching it now. And then we had Sydney pop in here saying, hearing great things about Repeat, gotta check it out soon. So hopefully anybody who watched this, if you have not seen Repeat, I genuinely tell you guys should go check it out. It's a really great film. I think it's a really solid sci-fi, different kind of film, and it was an honor to talk to you guys about it. So I won't take up any more of your guys' time, but a big thanks to you guys for watching. A big thanks to you guys for being a part of this. And to everybody who's watching, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.
Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Cheers.